I'd never mentioned that there were men as dark as this. Wow, look at that nose. He's just like a pig. He's a monster! Hut!
In today's episode, I'm joined by Phoebe Wong, a fitness model. I want to thank you for joining me today and give you the opportunity to introduce yourself if you want. So go ahead.
Sure. So I'm a fitness and travel influencer out of Toronto. I also do online training as well and social media marketing. And yeah, I'm in Mexico. That's why you see a beautiful background. And I'm very excited to share my opinion of interracial couples with you.
And I just wanted to mention that hopefully there won't be any technical issues like it was in the last video, because I was using my old computer, using a new one here, so hopefully everything will go smoothly. I'll start by asking, overall, regardless of whose race is what are your thoughts on interracial dating?
I think it's a beautiful thing. Like, love is love, and two people love each other. Doesn't matter their race, they should be together.
Cool. Do you know of anyone, regardless of race, that's had issues with dating someone outside of their race?
Yes, because actually myself personally can relate to that because I've experienced it myself. And for me, I think the most challenging part is introducing the parents into the whole concept, because this is kind of like the first generation where multiculturalism is more common. And you meet more people that are of different races everywhere you are, especially here in Canada as well. So I feel like it's a little bit taboo for them still to see their son or their daughter with someone else outside of their race. And I think it shouldn't be like that, because if you're a good person, regardless of whatever race you are, and you have a good heart, you're still a good person. So I hope eventually this will definitely change over time. And yeah.
That leads into, I guess, the next question. Do you think that interracial dating is a bigger issue for Asian women than for women of other races, or do you think that it's just as taboo for Asian women as it would be for like other women?
I think it's more taboo with women of other races, actually, because I have a easier time of doing that. I feel like my parents are pretty open-minded. I never had an issue with it, but I feel like my friends that have outside relationship, they do need to hide their relationship and stuff like that. So for me, I definitely think Asian women have it easier off than others.
Okay. One of the things that I've noticed, and I'm basically going on some of the things that I've heard in previous videos, is that Asian men can get angry when Asian women date outside of their race. Is that something that you or people that you may have experienced, or is that not an issue for you?
I think I kind of sense that, because I feel like a lot of Asian women's getting like attracted to guys outside their race, so they're losing a lot of fishes in their sea, and maybe I feel like there's a little bit of jealousy there for sure. Okay. Yeah.
But do you empathize with that, or do you think that is an issue for Asian men?
No, I feel like if they want to, they can explore as well. I think, yeah. For me, I feel like love is something that is so, not set in stone, but it's just, what's it called? Like, when the time is right, you'll find the right person. So regardless if you don't have a person in your life right now, just do your thing, improve on yourself, and eventually when the time is right, you'll find your partner when it's time.
And would that be the main advice that you would give Asian men who, I guess, feel as though Asian women don't desire them romantically, is just to improve themselves, or?
Yeah, because the right person would always love you for who you are. So if you're trying to have like an ideal girlfriend in your mind and trying to find that person, I don't think that's going to work for you. Like, when the time is right, then you will find that person, or that person will find you. So focus on yourself first, improve your own life, your career, everything, and then you'll probably find your loved one when you're ready.
Okay. Moving on to a slightly different subject. What are your thoughts on the, I guess, subject of Asian women specifically dating white men?
Like, my opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, if they're into Caucasian men, then why not? Actually, interracial babies are like the cutest baby. So I feel like it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I think nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't see any controversy behind that?
No.
Okay. This is where I wanted to bring an example into this, I guess, conversation, because I wanted to explain why there may be a controversy behind it. Do you know of the movie Crazy Rich Asians?
I do. I love that movie. I watched it like 5 times. It's my favorite movie.
So you know of Awkwafina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she did a video. It might be a little bit long for me to explain this, but she did a video with Vogue on YouTube, and she talked about her dating history. There were a couple of...
I watched that. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
It was like 4-minute video, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that she said, a couple of things that were, I guess, were a little bit odd in that video. There were 3 things I wanted to point out. One, she said the guy that she was dating talked about libertarianism. And I know you're Canadian, but that's a party in the U.S. that's mostly associated with white men. The second thing that she mentioned was that she wanted to see the movie White Chicks, which is 2 black comedians dress up as white men, or white women, I should say. And the third thing she mentioned was that she wanted to do a Marissa Tomei impression. I don't know if you know Marissa Tomei from My Cousin Vinny, but she's a white woman. And that may just seem like it's not a big deal, but like for people, I guess even Asian men who are aware of certain things, I guess the controversy behind it is that some people think that Asian women may want to like be white or may have internalized racism when they seek out white men as romantic partners, and things like that can be signs that maybe it's not just about love, it's about, I guess,
wanting to be someone you're not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I bring that up to ask, is that something that you may think may play a role in it, or have you not seen that at all? Or
I don't think so. I feel like you can't choose who you love. You can't choose who you meet like tomorrow, who you talk to, who comes into your life. So just do you. Like if they like this person, they want to be this way, if they want to do this, and it doesn't really concern you, just let them be. And you can do you too, literally. And I don't know, yeah. A lot of people like get what's it called? How do I explain this? A lot of people get butt hurt about things that they shouldn't get butt hurt about, I feel like. But if it doesn't concern you, let's let people be.
So it's just like making a big deal out of nothing, I guess.
Yeah, I feel so. Okay. Yeah.
So when it comes to interracial dating, do you feel as though Asian women, it may be harder for them to date men of certain races over others?
Yes, I do feel like that. It kind of goes back to how about my personal experience, right? Okay. Yeah, because certain religions, like religious reasons, there's rules and beliefs that have been passed down, and I feel like people definitely want to keep those customs still, even to this day. And sometimes it's not even the person themselves, it's maybe the parents, or they want to just follow their traditional beliefs. And yeah, I think it's harder for other races for sure. Yeah. Okay.
And those issues are based off of like cultural differences, you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah.
Okay.
At least a little bit, from my personal experience. I just feel like there's a little bit of like understanding there, where it's like they kind of see you in like with like a tinted glasses, not for who you are. And I just wish like people would get to know you first and get to know you as a person, and then be the judge of that. Because just because someone is, yeah, like I said earlier, just because someone is another race, you can't really just already judge them just because they're Asian. So okay. Yeah.
I bring this up to quote a podcast that I mentioned in the last video. I misspoke about it a little bit, but I wanted to mention it again because it was very controversial when I heard it. And this might be, again, a little bit long, but I just wanted to bring it up. In April of this year, NPR did a podcast called A Very Offensive Rom-Com, where they discuss white male Asian female couples. But they followed an Asian woman named Elle, who said that she usually dated white men. And this is the quote that really struck a chord with me, and you'll see why. So what I thought I was just doing was paying attention to the guys like I found attractive. But with just one thing, I started to realize as I was swiping past faces was that it was like almost this instantaneous thing where I would see like a black face or like someone who looked like Latinx, and I would like almost instinctually start to swipe. I was unconsciously like rejecting people because of literally like the color of their skin. I was literally giving white faces a chance that I was not giving black and Latinx faces. To go further, she went on to do an experiment for 2 years where she went to, I guess, decolonize herself and targeted mostly black men to date. And this is the part where I misspoke. She didn't get past the first date with most of them. Some went to second dates, but none turned into relationships. I think I said the second date is where most of them went to. But anyways, that story, before I ask any questions, I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
I feel like she's overthinking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because first she was like, she thought she was unconsciously more attracted to white men, and then she purposely tried to date black males. So
yeah.
I feel like that was like an intentional switch, and she was forcing it. That's why it wasn't working. Yeah. Maybe she was more naturally gravitated towards people, or that people that she was dating, then it'll come more natural and they'll connect better. Because then you're just forcing yourself to try something new, and that doesn't usually work.
Yeah. And it may be obvious at this point, but the reason why I bring up that quote is because I've seen that. Like, I've seen the not wanting to date black and Hispanic men, or Latinx in that case, and usually gravitating to white men. So my question would be, based off of that, is if Asian women would hear this, and they know that black and Hispanic men would pursue them anyways, is it not a concern, especially if the woman is attractive, that black and Hispanic men could be seen as easy or exploitable? Like, oh my God, you know, I can look at them as an experiment and they'll still want to date me anyways. Is that a concern that maybe after hearing that may be legitimate?
No, because everybody's different, and everybody's like, depending on where you are, you meet different people, different lifestyle, different way of choosing their partners even. So I feel like no stress about it. Just like I said like many times, let things flow. I do think people overthink a lot, and when you do that, then you're forcing things to happen. Okay. Yeah.
I guess like it's just, again, like with the white male Asian female thing, it's making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Couple more questions. Do you think that it's a turnoff for a man to be self-conscious about his race when it comes to dating?
It's not a turnoff, but it shouldn't be the case. You should be proud of where you're from and your race, because you were born into that. Obviously, the universe put you guys together. So I think you should embrace it. Like, I'm Chinese, I'm from Hong Kong, I love my country, and yeah, just because I like other people of other races doesn't mean I'm any different. So.
Okay, so the advice you would have is to just embrace who you are. It's not something that you should be worried about at all.
No, yeah, the right person will love you for who you are.
Okay. And I guess my final question, maybe a little bit redundant, is do you have any advice for men who feel as though they're being rejected by Asian women for their race?
Any advice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to repeat myself again though, but yeah, I do think that when the right person is there for you, when the time is right, you'll find the right person for you.
Okay.
And if you keep like chasing certain things in your life, you wouldn't get it like how you want it, because you're forcing things to happen. So I feel like it's better to just go with the flow, let the universe determine, meet people, do new things, experiences, travel, do everything. And then when the person comes, you'll know, like you'll feel it, because you'll feel really connected, and you guys would obviously be compatible, and you'll definitely feel that connection. So I don't think you should worry about it if it's not a concern. If you're especially making it a concern for yourself, just relax, chill. It's all good. You'll find the right person when it's time.
Okay. So those are all my questions. I'm not sure if you wanted to bring anything else into the discussion. But if not, I wanted to thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, like, if you are in an interracial couple relationship and you're having challenges, I wish that, sorry, what's it called? I hope that you guys can overcome it together, because I know how it feels, and I think it's worth it if you guys really love each other. And yeah, I don't think you guys should be worried about what other people think. Just embrace your uniqueness, and yeah, that's what I have.
Okay. So we went through those pretty quickly. I didn't know. I know I said before, like, oh, it might be 30, 45 minutes, but we went through it like that. Huh?
You want to add anything?
I guess the way that you view it is, it's not an issue for, you know, it's not something that you've seen as an issue, but for somebody who's Black and Hispanic who's seen, I guess, the statistics, and then like you deal with that, and then maybe the parents may not want to date somebody like you, and then even if you go through all that, then you get labeled as having yellow fever because you have this preference by women who don't want to date you anyways. It's just, it seems like a no-win situation. And that's why I bring it up. It's good that that's not something that you've had to deal with I guess your parents or like with society. But I can say, just, I mean, based off of what I've heard in some of the other videos and what's going on in my country in the United States right now, is that it is, unfortunately, I guess, a reality.
So it's more of a challenge for Asian women in the United States.
No, it's a challenge for me. Yeah, it's a challenge for me. The narrative, I guess, before Trump was, if you liked Asian women, you were automatically bad. It's preference, it's fetishizing, blah, blah, blah. Then it became, oh, why are they able to criticize us and they only date white men? That's a problem. You know, they only date, they have self-hate. They want to date them for their money or their status and stuff like that. And now there's a backlash against that. And that's why I bring up the thing in the podcast, because that reality of, oh, I've only dated white men, now let me try and force myself to date men that I've never wanted to date before. That's not surprising to me at all. And I guess for me, I guess I don't feel as though like we're allowed to be angry about it. Whereas if people were only dating women because they were Asian, like Asian women were able to be mad about it for years. And that, I guess, is where the frustration lies. I guess I'm just kind of rambling at this point because.
Oh, it's okay. I like listening.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. That's why I kind of done this blog. There are other issues that I don't mention in this particular blog that are political, that then you go way deep into the rabbit hole. But that's been the issue, to say the least. And again, that's if they're even open to it. That's if the parents are even approved. That's if you're in their wheelhouse, because I feel as though, and I've discussed this sometimes, that you may have to have a certain status to be in the running. Like, you can't sag your pants. You can't, you know, you can't be a gangbanger unless you're white. Like those things.
It's a standard.
Yeah.
Know what you mean?
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you can talk about that if you want. I just that's the gist of it.
I feel like everybody has their own standard, though.
Yeah.
So everybody has their own, what's it called? Their own idea of who their partner would be like. But what I've learned from my personal experience, you literally can't control what happens to you. Sometimes you connect really deeply with someone, and they might not connect the same with you. But I think you just have to, like I said, like, work on yourself, and the right person would definitely love you for who you are. And just because they're of different race doesn't mean you shouldn't try to chase someone. If you think it's a possibility, if you think there's a connection, then why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, life is life. Like, I think, give it a shot, and then if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, for me, I go like 110% for everything I do. So I'm like really persistent too. So if I want something, I'm probably gonna want to get it. Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, if you want to pursue someone, then go ahead, do it, for as long as you're mindful of what you're doing. And if it goes well, then it goes well. If it doesn't, then you still have learn a lesson at the end. So I feel like.
No, Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. th- I've had this conversation, and I understand that perspective because, and it's actually great to be in that perspective because then you don't have to look at certain things that people have to deal with. Like it's okay. Like for example, if I'm working for a job, and this is not what's my life, but like let's say I'm working a job that makes $30,000 a year, and the girl I likes to go on vacation or likes to go on, exotic trips, and I can't afford that because of issues, structural racism issues that are beyond my control, and I feel priced out based off of that's the issue. It's like I can't be overly positive about it. For example, if I have a high school diploma and I know that I have to do certain things with my life, like work a particular job that's only going to give me a certain amount of money, and there are girls that I may have an attraction to and they may have an attraction towards me, but they look for other things such as financial stability that I can't provide, and that's already pricing me out. That
You shouldn't price yourself out, though.
Hmm?
You shouldn't price yourself out. Like, that should be if you want to set the bar high, then set your bar high and work towards it. Because you can't stay at a job like for forever. If you want someone, like you really want to pursue someone, then you're gonna work yourself towards that. You can change careers. You can maybe get promoted. Like you'll figure something out if you want someone. Because I know I do. When I really want someone, I'm gonna make it work, and I'll like try all the different ways until it really doesn't work, and then I will,
Yeah. I wish it was that simple for some cases. I mean,
There's like careers, right?
Huh?
There's more like to jobs, security, and stuff like that.
It's not even just a job security. Like even if you do all those things and you find your way into pricing yourself into that dating pool that I'm talking about, you deal with friends that may not want her to date you. You deal with parents who disown them for dating you. Like, these are realities that, unfortunately, I can't ignore. I don't say these things to complain. I say these things that I'm trying to ignore those things, and in spite of me doing the best that I can, it's not working. That's the position that I come from in. And I'm not trying to disrespect where you're coming from at all. I understand, like, this, you can still do it. But the reason why this blog exists for me and why it took so long to even talk about these things head on was because I know that you can do everything right and it's still not work out, and that's going to end up a lot more often than I think people are willing to admit or be comfortable with. It's negative, it's dark, but it's reality. The last episode I did, I talked to a black and an Asian couple. The black guy deals with a lot of racism. The video before that talked to a Mexican and Korean couple. The Mexican guy, the parents told her to finish the relationship. This is when it works out.
It happened to me before too, so I understand.
Sorry?
That happened to me before too, so I understand.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. I just wish I wish it was that simple. And I get where you're coming from. And that's why I asked if this type of behavior is unattractive, because unfortunately it's like, okay, you are focused on this issue, but then if you focus on this issue you talk about all the time, then the woman gets turned off about it. It's like, oh, let's just go and have a vacation. I'm like, well, I'm constantly thinking about this because every time I take you to a store, they're looking at me thinking I'm going to rob something. So it's just something, somebody like me can't ignore.
But at the end of the day, you only have one life to live. And you're going to find that partner that you want to spend the rest of your life with. It has to be someone that you really want to. So I feel like it's so important to choose wisely. Make sure that you guys have a good compatibility. So if that person's out of your league right now and you think it might happen in the future, then work towards it anyways. You don't want to regret it when you're like, yeah, like years down the road, like, oh, I wish I talked to that girl. I wish I messaged her, or stuff like that. You just don't want that to happen. So I feel like it's so important to just follow your heart and do what you think is right. And like I said, like you'll learn a lesson out of anything. And there's one more thing I wanted to say, but I totally like lost track of my thought. Yeah.
I will say this: it's much easier to live life with that mindset than mine. That's not that's just a. I mean, it's not an insult. It's not a compliment. It's just a fact. Like it's much easier to look at things that way with a glass half full than a glass half empty. But like for example, I'll bring up one more. There was a person that I had talked to about this who was on a black YouTube channel and was trying to tell a black woman that who felt that she was losing ground to Asian women was, it was all in their head and it was just stereotypes. And then she talked to me, and after a little while bringing up some of these issues, she let it slip and say, well, why would you want to date somebody who's known for crime? Like, I just,
everybody's there just because they're a race doesn't mean like just because there's a group of people in that race that are bad doesn't mean the entire race is bad. You know what I mean? Like, you know how India and Pakistan is having war issues right now, and there's like kind of what's it called, a stereotypical look on them where they're kind of dangerous. It's like a terrorist kind of place to visit, tourism, just like stuff like that. Just because a part of it doesn't mean the entire country is like that. Doesn't mean like people overseas of the same race is also the same like as them. So I feel like you can't judge people by their race. Like you really can't. Like Indians and Pakistanis here, it's not going to be the same as back home. They grew up here. They lived their life here. They shouldn't be judged for who they are. So for other people's mistake. And same thing with me. Like just because I'm Asian, just because I'm Chinese, doesn't mean I should be judged by what other people do. Like I'm the person that I am, So yeah, regardless of whatever race you are, if you connect with the other person, then you connect with the other person. I think shouldn't like put too much.
The sun is setting a little. It's getting a little bit darker over there, but I know you're right. I'm not. I don't know. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I just wish it was that simple. And at least, it's not simple. And I at least thank you for not going like, oh, you have this preference. It's creepy. Like that's nice, because like sometimes you talk about this and then the conversation derails. But I don't know. There's just there are certain things there are certain structural issues that I've become aware of, particularly in my life and in the lives of people who are similar to me, who live around me in New York City and in Boston, that I can't seem to ignore. I don't want to bring those particular issues up because I feel like it's just one step at a time.
Yeah.
But like, it's safe to say that if you look in the news and you see what's going on in certain schools that I've attended in New York and Boston, that it's difficult. It's difficult, and I know I get what you're saying. It's just
Well, I know it's difficult, but I don't know. Like I just feel like if you really love someone and you really want to be together, you shouldn't like let the other people's opinion affect you. Because at the end of the day, you have each other, and you guys are gonna support each other in that sense. And yeah, you guys are gonna like us against the world, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, at least you have a positive attitude about it.
I actually do. I really hope as time goes on, this is going to change. It's going to improve, and it's going to be more acceptable over time. Because, yeah, I know how it feels, and I know the struggles, and I know it might be really hard. So I do feel like as time goes on, it will be better. Maybe the next generation or the generation after. But yeah, just don't think you should be judged by your partner, who your partner are, and who you like. Like, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah. I'll go a little bit more into it. So you have a person, like let's say, who lives in a low-income neighborhood, right? And because they work hard, because they have to, they don't have a good school around them, they may not have access to a good education. So they either have to go to that school where the education is poor or go to a better school that's much farther away. The other side, the Asian side, knows this and doesn't want to necessarily date the black person, not necessarily because of the color of their skin, but because they know that this person has to work harder to get the same things that they do. And they know that that's going to be a problem. Shouldn't
that be more attractive? You have a hard-working person as your partner.
No, I get that. But I'm saying that issue that the black or Hispanic person has to deal with is something that the Asian woman or the family may realize is going to play itself into the relationship. So, for example, that person may be denied a house or a car loan because of the color of their skin, and the Asian woman that doesn't necessarily have to deal with this and can date an Asian or a white guy that doesn't have to go through those things, says, and may have children with this person who looks mixed race and then darker skin, says to themselves, yes, we both love the same music, we both like the same type of things, we like going to the same places, but there are certain things that he has to deal with growing up and then like in his adult life that I don't want to bring into my life or into my children when they are mixed race and they are darker skinned or Hispanic, part Hispanic. That is what I guess what I'm getting at. That even when all the stars align, right, that there are outside forces, whether not even the parents, let's say the parents are into it, let's say the friends are into it, they don't care. The Asian woman knows that at a certain point there are certain things that they're going to have to deal with in the relationship that are because their partner is black or Hispanic, that are out of their control and may lower the quality of the life or the quality of their relationship. And the Asian woman has to decide whether or not she wants to put up with that, if she loves him enough or cares about him enough to put up with that, if they don't have to, with a person who's very similar to this black or Hispanic person, but doesn't have to go through those things.
But you won't be happy. The Asian woman you're talking won't be happy because now she's trying to replace that. And she really actually have the connection with the person that's more hardworking. But she wants like the other, kind of like the easier way out kind of thing. I feel like when you try to do that, then it's not a real connection with the new person. You're just replacing something that you really love with something else. And it's like saying like you found someone that's like, for me, like I like to work out and like film content, stuff like that. And if I know my partner like to do the same thing, but the issue is that I have to, or he or she have to work twice as hard towards it. What's it called? I'm the train of thoughts. It shouldn't be an issue. Like if you love that person, you would tolerate it. You definitely would. Like I definitely. It doesn't matter who they are. Like if I actually love the person to their soul, then regardless how they eventually look like, regardless what they do, the mistake, I'll probably forgive it because I truly love that person and I will stick with them like forever. Like just because they have to work a little harder doesn't mean they're any different. Yeah. Right? I don't know.
You're right.
If you like the person, you'll stick it out.
No, you're right. And it's nice to hear. I just think that your viewpoint is in the minority.
Yeah. I'm a very positive person. I try to be. Yeah. So I run into issues, but I still try to look at the brighter side of things. I feel like everything happens for a reason. And if the timing is not right for you, then it's not right for you. Like eventually it will be. So if you're going through challenges right now, it might be that right now, but it won't be like that forever.
Okay. The main issue, have you heard of the model minority?
The motto,
model minority?
No.
Okay.
Explain. Maybe I have, but I don't know.
So it's a stereotype that assumes that Asians are hardworking, and like other minorities should follow suit, because if they have the same hard work ethic as Asians do, that they'll be more successful than they currently are.
No. Some Asians aren't hardworking at all. I know this. Just because, yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I get that. I've seen Asians that don't work hard. I've seen Asians that work hard. But that stereotype is the main reason why this is an issue. Because there are Asians who look at what goes on in the world, particularly in the U.S., and they think that the bad things that happen to other minorities, particularly Black and Hispanic, are due to their own faults and not because of a greater force of racism that is going on. And they believe that they're more successful even than white people because they just were able to work hard, which is why they relate more with whites in their own kind than us, because they just don't think that we work hard enough. When in reality, if they were in the same position as we are, like I said before, like they're in the low-income neighborhood with poor house, like they wouldn't be able to get as far as they are. And as they are right now, if they did the same thing, they had the same hard work ethic. And that is the crux, the core of why it's so difficult, because you have some, at least from my perspective, there have some Asians who look at us and they say, okay, they're going to have to deal with things that I don't want to deal with as an Asian woman, so bye. And then there are others who say, well, it's not that I'm not open to it, but you guys just don't have the same work ethic that we do, that we don't work as hard. You take affirmative action and you don't do anything with it. So, we have two different cultures that don't work out, and therefore that's why I don't date you, because you're all in jail, you all sag your pants, you all shoot each other up in your neighborhoods, and that I can say for a fact is a huge, those two things are well, you have a poor connection. Those two things come into play very much so when it comes to interracial dating. Again, it just so happens that some of the schools that I went to are having those debates right now, which is very, 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 very coincidental, but is not surprising given my life. But that's what it is. And I'm happy. I mean, you're from Canada. I don't know if that's an issue over there. There's no schools that are fighting over this stuff. That's great. But because I went to two schools that are fighting over this right now, I can say for certain that it's a factor. So that's what the model minority thing is. And I can go deeper into that, but it gets deep. Again, you go deep into the rabbit hole. It's better if you don't know. It's better you just don't know, honestly. Yeah. But that's the summation of it. That's the if I had to summarize it in like 3 minutes, which I just did. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a very tough topic. It is controversial, but yeah, it's just right now I think it's like the in-between time of things getting better, things getting more what's it called? Given more attention, because it is happening more often and people are traveling, they're meeting new people, and yeah, I just think it's such a beautiful thing to see two people like truly love each other. So even though they're different race, like why not? I think interracial couple makes the most beautiful babies, so the cutest baby. So I just think, like, if you love someone of a different race and they love you too, then just do it.
Yeah.
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 Just you know. Who cares about what people think?
Yeah, it got choppy again, but I don't know. Like, the only thing I can say is that it's better to not know than to know and live it.
No, I actually lived it, so I know. Don't worry, I know. Yeah.
But from what perspective? From the perspective of like you feel as though you're not good enough, or from the perspective of like outside forces are telling you not to do it?
I think a little bit of both. It's just like I'm just seen as someone different because of my race, but then they don't like actually know me as a person. Does that make sense?
Somebody who doesn't see, like they don't know you because of your race?
No, they'll just judge me because of my race. Like she's not a good person for you because she's Asian. She is a bad influence because she's Asian, like to the other person.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and I literally walked into the room where I felt like so uncomfortable because I was just all eyes on me and like, like because I'm not of their own like color or religion, and it's just like that shouldn't matter. Like I am who I am, and if I have a good heart, then I have a good heart. Like if I'm a nice person, I'm a nice person, regardless if I'm Asian or your race or not. And some of your girls in your race might, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you really need to know the person first. You can't judge them by their cover. And it's so easily said than done. Like you see someone, you just assume because they dress a certain way, because they post this on Instagram, because they post this on YouTube, that you can just judge them by what you see, but you actually don't even know them as a person, like personally. Yeah. I think until you know someone personally on a personal level, then you have the right to judge them for who they are. Okay. Otherwise, no, you don't know them. Okay. You just don't. And you cannot just like tell your son, your daughter that they're not right for you. Okay. Right?
No, you're right. But it is that's surprising that you feel as though you may not be good enough, because I feel as though, at least from my perspective, I guess, that Asian women may think that they're good enough, and like I'm always having to prove myself to them. So it's not. I guess it's. I wasn't expecting to hear that you would think that in some cases you weren't good enough for the people that you pursued or the families that on the other side. But I guess people have different experiences, and just because there are things that I've seen that are structured in a certain way doesn't mean that somebody can't have a similar experience, which is, I guess that's good to know. But I don't know. It just, I don't know. It usually, sorry?
I can go on and on about it because I've went through quite a bit because of that too.
I mean, you can, I don't know how comfortable you are sharing that. If you want to discuss that, that's fine. But I can just say that from my perspective, it always feels like I have to prove myself. You know, it always feels like, particularly if they're attractive, that there's really like I'm fighting an uphill battle. Again, even if there's not a personality issue, different personality issue, there's that they expect certain things that I may not be able to provide financially. Like going on trips or buying certain things that that may be out of my price range. So yeah.
If something is out of your price range, or if something is out of reach, you should make it a goal to reach it. Like every step that you take will eventually compound into something bigger. Because I remember last year, me and my partner were at a totally different place, and we really took what we had at that time to come all the way here and do what we're doing now. And it took more than a year to kind of compound to this day, but everything happens for a reason, and it has obviously changed over time. I can kind of share my career, I guess. I started renting out a gym. Right now I'm renting out of a private gym for personal training, and I'm moving on to online training as well. But last year I was running around different gyms and just kind of sneaking clients in, doing Planet Fitness. You know Planet Fitness?
Planet Fitness, yeah.
Planet Fitness have you can bring a guest in. So I would bring my clients in like that to save money, because when you work under a corporate job, they take most of your cut for a personal trainer. So we started with doing that, and then we transitioned. We always loved filming videos and workout videos and sharing it on Instagram and stuff. So we kept doing that, and then now we transitioned all the way now to working out at a private gym, just renting the space. We're able to leverage all the experiences we had to do online training, to train other people from around the world. And then we also film content for different places that we travel to. So that's why I'm right now in Mexico. So I never thought I would be able to do this. And like a few years ago, like for a couple of years, I paid for these trips. I always had to pay for my stay, my food, my everything. But now I'm able to like connect with people and collaborate and also get paid for what I love to do. So I don't think anything is out of reach. I think you just have to set a goal for yourself and slowly get there. Because right now I'm not where I want to be either. I'm kind of in the fetus stage of where I want to be, but I can see everything starting to line up. And I think it's really cool to see like all the efforts from before transferring to right now. And it might have took like over a year, but I know like maybe like 1 month or 2 months I'll expedite really fast, like my career would, or like or it might happen in like a couple of years. But you just never know when your time will be your time, but it will come. Like your time will eventually come, and if you just work hard towards that goal, then you'll get there. Just have the mindset to it, commit to it, and work towards it. Yeah, that was a long tangent, but I think that's a beautiful one.
Yeah. No, I get it. Basically, you're saying that. It's just about if you can't get there, if you're not there now, you can get there. And
yeah, you can, yeah.
And that you've been building something for a while that is getting you to where you want to be.
Exactly. So I just feel like you just have to put your mind and soul into something, and if it's truly what you love to do, eventually attention will get there, and yeah. You'll be a different place. Like, time will tell, definitely. Like you might learn something, you might switch careers, you might switch your interests later on, but you'll definitely discover yourself as you make mistakes, you learn lessons, as you meet other people, and every experiences will be experience that you can learn from. So I feel like you shouldn't be upset at where you are right now if you're going through challenges. Just have to believe in yourself, believe in your goal, and work towards it.
And I will say that kind of reminds me of something that you said earlier about, what was it? That, you know, if race is an issue for the woman in question, that they're basically that's not somebody that's going to be happy.
Yeah.
One thing I did talk about in a previous video, when their parents didn't want them to date the Mexican guy, was that she still tried to convince her mother anyways. And
that's what you do.
yeah. So I guess I guess something that, I don't know if you agree with this, but one thing that a person has to accept is that even if there's a certain financial or racial barrier, that if the person who is being put under pressure under those barriers is buckling to it, then they're not the ones for you, because if they cared about you enough, they would fight on their own to make it work regardless of those barriers.
Fight together. I feel like when your relationship, it's a 2-in-1 kind of thing. You got to support each other. So if one person is sticking it out for you, you just got to be there for them and support them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. No, and it's true. Again, the only difference is that I think that's the minority.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm 29. I've seen a disproportionate, I would say in my life, I've seen a disproportionate amount of racism relative to most people. So that's definitely skewed my views. And I have an unfortunate ability to see through BS in certain people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I love how you're doing this though. If like more people can be like you and or like us, like raise awareness of it and spread the love for interracial couples and stuff like that, I think it'll make a difference. And like I said, everything compounds over time. So you tell this person, I tell this person, and then yeah, I'll definitely make a wave of something new. And hopefully eventually it won't be so taboo anymore.
Yeah. 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 And then something else comes up.
Something else comes up. Now you know what? We have to make it stop.
Yeah. One thing at a time. Yeah. No. I don't know. I've seen too much. I've seen a lot. Like I said, the main reason why I can't go on that side completely is because I know the structural element to it, the structural racism part of it, which I've discussed before already. But that's the part that makes it the issue, and that's the part that even when you're able to raise awareness of it, that's the part that can't go away because it's kind of baked in, at least in the U.S. I'm sure it's in Canada as well, but I know definitely for the U.S. it's baked in, and that, I guess because I know that there's not much I can do to make it go away, and that's what always lingers in my mind. You know, it's like, okay, I get that like, let's say it happens, right, and there's no issue. It's still in my mind because I'm thinking of like what I had to do to get there relative to somebody else. I'm thinking about what issues may happen in the relationship, even though it's a relationship. What may happen if I have kids, and what the kids may have to deal with, certain stereotypes that they may have to avoid. Like that it's the long term. Yeah, at first, I'll say this. At first, when I was looking at this issue and I wasn't aware of all of it, I was just like, okay, let me just point this out. And if I point this out, things will change. And then I got the backlash in terms of why it's happening, which is the structural racism. And I said to myself, oh, crap. I can get this done, but this is why it's been so difficult. And this is why it's always going to be difficult, and why it's going to be a problem even if I succeed. And it's one of those things where it's like, even if it works out, what's the point? Because I know, like, you know too much. You know what I mean?
I feel like everybody will always have their own opinions. It will always be a little bit of an issue, but if you truly believe in it, then that's what you got to do. Like raising awareness of it, it's like the first step to making a difference. And it's like, yeah, it's like anything. I think like I said, raising awareness is the first step to making a difference.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that it's happening, and maybe it's not now, maybe it's like a few years from now, maybe it's a decade from now, I don't know when. But yeah, like, people will always have their own opinion and thoughts, but if you believe in what you truly believe in, then you should stick it out. And yeah. Don't worry, your efforts would definitely like make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just...
I know it's a really tough topic. Yeah. I know.
It's good. You can have a better life being positive about it. I know. I don't know. This is who I am. I'm always gonna think about the overarching issues about it, and it's always gonna be something that is gonna be in the back of my mind. And I mentioned that podcast, that when I heard that was
the game over.
Sorry, what?
Game over.
Yeah, no, I mean that was my life in a nutshell. Like, for example, like it wasn't an issue before, and now I've seen some people virtue signal and try to, act like they're progressive when they're not. And then I hear this podcast, and I'm just like, yeah, I know there are some people who are virtue signaling, and that's not surprising. And I don't know. I guess the difference is that, like, I know, and it's hard to keep my eyes closed. And but raising awareness has certainly changed the conversation. But when it changes the conversation for people who haven't had to go through it, and then like are benefiting from the change itself. But for the people who were aware and then like see the change happening and what's going on, like that's like I'm dealing with the
other side of it.
Yeah, the ramifications of having to deal with it at first and seeing the changing narrative that is being forced. It's not even natural. It's not being forced. It's like, oh, well, now let me force myself to date black men. Yeah. Like, that's no better than just not wanting to date me at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to be hard, particularly if you're somebody who's aware like me, to have a conversation with somebody. Like, let's say if you're trying to pursue them and, like, that this is what's going on. you can't go to a date with somebody and say, hey, do you know about systemic racism? How hot is that? Like, you can't do that. It's not attractive. You got to talk about what are your long-term goals? What are you, what do you like to do for fun? Stuff like that. And I do think it's unattractive, at least, I mean, in a conversation, that's fine. But, like, let's say you're on an online dating site. It's very unattractive to talk about these things and obsess over these things. Women don't want to hear a guy complain about affirmative action or systemic racism all the time. It's not, I mean, they want to have conversations about, at least from what I see, conversations about what's, again, like, what do you do for a living? What are your long-term goals? And when you've lived it, you're always thinking about it because you're always talking about politics, at least in my mind. That it becomes a never-ending cycle. It's like, okay, you want to raise awareness, then you raise awareness, but you're obsessed over it. Now the women are interested in you, or they're trying to be interested in you, but you keep thinking about it all the time. And because you're thinking about it all the time, now they're not attracted to you because that's all you think about. Yeah. And then it just becomes a never-ending loop. I guess here's what this whole conversation comes down to. You're positive. You look at it and you say, "Hey, do you? It's fine." Uh-huh. And I'm saying that yes, that's absolutely true, but I can't overlook the other stuff, and it's because I can't. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. I know it is hard.
Yeah.
I know it's difficult because I've been through it too, honestly. So, you live and you learn. Like, every experience is, yeah, seriously. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I've been through so much stuff in my past life. Like, yeah, stuff that I don't even want to re-experience, obviously. But, like, you learn from each thing you go through. You become more mature about it. You become more realistic and logical about it. So I feel like, just stand on your grounds. If that's what you believe in, that's what you believe in. And I like interracial couples. I believe in them. I do.
I know. You think mixed babies are cute? Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's just, you see certain things and then it just, you can't unsee them. And part of the reason, one last thing I'll say, part of it, because we've been going on for a little bit. One thing I'll say is that one of the reasons why I didn't want to go too deep into it is because I not just because I think it's opening up another can of worms, but I do think it's better off in some cases just to not know. It's really okay not to, it's really good not to know just how effed up.
It is. I would love to know. I want to know everything. I actually know things that I shouldn't probably know, and I probably know, I probably know more than what the other person thinks I know. I guess that happens more than often than people think, but you know what? Like, I don't know. I feel like honesty is literally the best policy. Like, just be honest with people. If you have something to say, if somebody has a problem with them, you'd rather not hide it. Like, like, people is always like, oh, you shouldn't say things that hurt their feelings, No, like, if you have something to say, then say it. If someone has a problem with someone else, then I want to know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I did mention it a little bit. It has to do with the model minority. If you look at certain policies that have been going on, certain different ways things have been shaped, particularly in the Western countries, you can start to understand why things are the way that they are, and certain, I guess, darker topics that make people act the way they do in certain cases. Like, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Yeah. Huh?
So it can get pretty ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I did when I was studying journalism was that I took a lot of courses related to race and related to politics. And that's where I learned a lot of the things that I've learned about this particular issue, which is why I say what I say. And I do say this sincerely, that it's just better, you're better off not digging into that. And if you do view it as it's beautiful, you know, we shouldn't be judging people based off of their race, that's the best way to look at it, because it's not a... Huh?
So we really shouldn't.
Yeah. You really shouldn't. But the main reason why people do is because they understand that regardless of the reason, there are certain things that people can't do, certain opportunities people may not have because of the color of their skin. And certain people, not just Asian women, but certain people would rather date people who have more opportunities in life because they want to have, and they want their kids to have a better opportunity in life. And that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
I can see where that is. I feel like men have more of that idea than a woman. Does that make sense? Or maybe just me. I don't know. I feel like men are more overthinkers in that sense because they're kind of like traditionally the breadwinner and like the person that starts the family and protects it. So they might want to think of it more long term, but I feel like, yeah, love is love. Like if you love someone, then you will stick it out and you'll make it work. And I think to embrace it, it might be harder than what you would go through than if you were with someone of the same race, but it's going to be so worth it because you truly will enjoy the time you spend with this person. You'll appreciate the life that you built together and the family you have built together. And I think that's the most fulfilling thing in life, to be able to do the career that you want, spend your life with someone you really love that really loves you, and build a family that you're proud of. And it should be the right person that you really want to spend time with, not with someone else that you might think it's an easier, better way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you say that you think that, I just wanted to get this, that you think that men are more concerned with how they may be viewed as like romantic partners to women than women are concerned about that with men? Is that, or do you think, yeah.
I feel like women are more are more persistent to getting what they want. So regardless of like other people's opinions, doesn't matter, other factors that affects the interracial relationship they have, they'll still pursue it because I feel like women generally usually love the men more, like would just stick it out. Yeah. So I feel like they'll always be there for him. And does that make sense? What was I trying to get across? Yeah, I feel like women are more persistent. Like they'll stick it out. I think men are the ones that are overthinkers. I will think like far ahead.
So like men are worried about more things about relationships that women don't necessarily care about as much, or?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like men may think about like, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do that? And the women's just like, I either like him or I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of like me. I don't like him or I don't. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I mean, there are certain things I think that men feel as though, whether it may not be true, they may feel as though they have to be concerned about as men, that may not be necessarily an issue, but they're concerned about regardless. I could definitely see that. I don't know. I feel like that just outside of race, I feel like there are things that men feel as though they have to do.
Their gender too, right?
Yeah, there's certain expectations. Be taller, make money, don't be bald. Although baldness isn't necessarily a deal breaker in some cases, but I think men are concerned about that. What else? Definitely be taller, like I said. Make money. Be confident. That's one thing. These are things that I think that be the aggressor. These are things that men feel as though if they don't have, at least in my opinion, don't have one of these things, it can turn off a bunch of women in their minds. Again, not just outside of race, just in general.
Then if you're stuck in that position, you will work hard to change that or improve the situation. I've seen it. Trust me, I've seen it happen. I've seen someone from point A to point B before my eyes and grow like that. So I know that it can happen. You know, I literally seen that before my eyes. Like someone going from like a really vulnerable and like not knowing where to go kind of place to being really successful and building like an empire for himself. So I feel like anything is possible if you just put your mind into it. Yeah. Honestly, you can't be comfortable where you are. If you don't like where you are, then change it. That's the advice I have to give you. Change it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It might not be right now, but your time will come. Like, I tell this to everybody, like, you're gonna go through a lot of stuff in your life. But, you know, if you have something that you want to work towards, if you don't like where you are right now, then work towards the bigger goal that's towards where you actually want to be. Then you'll be at a better place. Then you'll find a partner that will be right fit for you. Because then you'll learn a lot about yourself, what you want in a partner, what you don't want, and what's truly like right for you. So everything is a learning curve. Like, don't rush into relationships. Make sure it's right for you first, and yeah. And don't be scared of interracial in relationships.
Yeah, no, that's also a good thing. I think some people are just scared of because of certain stereotypes that, you know, they don't want to date people with certain races. And like you said, it's not good to judge people based off of their race. Yeah, that definitely plays a part in it. There's definitely a fear. And it's not just with one particular group of people. It's various people of different races who think that way. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm not looking to disagree. I'm not looking to diminish what you're saying at all. The only thing I would just say is that, from my perspective, I know too much. I've seen too much, and it's like at this point, it's not even so much about what we're discussing, which is the dating part of it. It's the other elements that make it more difficult that have kind of even soured that. So that's I guess all it's comes down to. Now for the first time, the light is much better. Yeah.
Well,
Yes, that was so much better.
Oh shoot, sorry.
I really wish I had it like that the whole time. That would have been
like this.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that would have been so much.
Oh no! Now we're wrapping up.
Yes. That would have been so much better. I may be able to fix something with the lighting over there, but now I'm really depressed because it's so much better. Yeah.
It was a really good conversation. I think it got better and better. I feel like we warmed up to it, and then it got like more juicier. So we have lots of good stuff. Yeah. So I think my last words would be literally like just live the life that you want and work towards like whatever goal you have. Don't be scared of interracial relationships. Like if you love a person that's of another race, pursue it.